Did you want to get your books?
No, it's fine. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to 20 Books in 20 Minutes with me, Kaylee.
And me, Jill.
We're going to be sharing some of our favorite summer reads, new books that just came out recently. A lot of them are thrillers, some of them are suspenseful, mix of everything. Who would like to start? Would you like to start? Oh, I'll start. Okay. So to start off with, we're going to talk about Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia.
Do we want to start the... Oh, there it is.
The do not disturb. That was do not disturb.
Oh.
That was so people don't talk to us. So this is a reimagining of classic Gothic novels that focuses on a young debutante, Naomi, who is called upon to check in on her cousin who claims that her husband is poisoning her, that his whole family is super creepy and strange. So it features a big creepy house in the Mexican hills in the 1950s, creepy people, some beautiful scenery and imagery, but it is also just very creepy. And this is not her only book on the list. Jill will share the other one later.
Oh, yes. That was the Untamed Shore.
Yes.
We'll definitely get to that one momentarily.
Yes. But all of these books are available here at the library. You can put them on reserve.
You can comment if you want.
Let us know what book you like, or if you have any questions about any of the books that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I will start. This one is called A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreary. Right?
McCreary.
Yeah, I got it. And so anyway, this one is actually a really interesting, it has different texts within, like, kind of to give you an idea. There's certain little spots, like questionnaires.
Almost like an interview.
Yes, I like that. And I forgot to mention that last time. Anyway, so Lizzie and her husband Sam, their marriage is crackling over the years, and one phone call basically breaks their marriage apart. And with that phone call, basically it's suspenseful because she finds out all these secrets, all these lies that have been piling up throughout the years. She works at a law firm and takes a case where the prime suspect is actually, he kills his wife. So it kind of intertwines, and that's how they connect it together. So it's pretty interesting thriller if you want. So, yeah.
The next book is, you'll notice I didn't bring my books in because I still have them at home because I'm reading them. The next book I have is This Is How I Lied by Heather Gudenkoff. It is a small town murder mystery. A pregnant detective, kind of like in Fargo, is thrust back into her past when new evidence emerges in the murder of her best friend 25 years ago. So it's kind of it flip-flops through different viewpoints. It focuses on the pregnant detective in the present day, the victim back right before she died, and then the victim's sister in the current day, who might possibly be a psychopath. Nobody really knows for sure. It's got all those different viewpoints, and you're not really quite sure who to trust or who's telling the truth in their, they believe what they believe, but they might be lying to you.
Right.
That's why it's called
This Is How I Lied. And it got pretty good reviews. So.
Yes.
Next, we have The Half-Sister by Sandy Jones. And this one actually is really interesting. These two sisters, Kate and Lauren, they're really close after their father passed. And both of them, they get a note from this random young lady that's their half-sister, and there's like DNA results to prove it with the note. And so a lot of secrets and lies again come in thrillers.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a pretty
basically. And so so they meet the half-sister, and this is where it like ends up unraveling the mystery, and it kind of is interesting because it blinds us as well. Like, we as author or audience don't know yet.
Yeah, don't know who's telling the truth or what. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Clutter Corpse by Simon Brett. He's a pretty prolific author. He has a couple of other series. This one is a cozy mystery with a decluttering theme. So the main character, she runs a business called Spacewoman, where she helps people, declutter their houses, kind of like Marie Kondo. She helps people that might be hoarders. And so what she's doing is she ends up going to a hoarder's house to, check it out, kind of do a consultation. While there, she finds a dead body. It is not that of the homeowner. She has no idea who it is. She just finds a dead body in this house. So there's a lot of psychological twists. There's a lot of secrets from the past. Her husband died. How did he die? There's, her best friend goes missing. What happened to her best friend? It's just all these things that pile up on top of each other. And
how horrific to find
a
dead body if you're gonna go and clean.
Covered with magazines and papers and stuff and
oh, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
That's just Charlie. Anywho, this is the next one. The Last Hunt, and it's by Dion Meyer.
Dion Meyer.
Thank you. It's obviously a murder mystery. These two gentlemen, they work together to figure out what happened to this ex-cop that dies. His name's Johnson. And this investigation collides with a separate situation, Daniel. Now, Daniel, he actually becomes really a big part of the story. And to remain anonymous or strike a force to blow against the corrupt government. So he understands there's certain things that are going on within the government, and he's wondering if he should work with the investigators, the two gentlemen, or keep it to himself. I mean, you're going against the government. That's pretty hard.
Corrupt government.
Yes.
What a fun read.
Yeah, what a fun read.
My next one is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, who is a pretty, well-known author, has a lot of mysteries and thrillers out there. So this one is sort of in the vein of the Amityville Horror, which I love that movie. And
it's a good one.
Yeah. So, or the recent adaptation of The Haunting of Hill House that was on Netflix. So it's, in the past, a young family moves into this huge rambling estate, and they only last 3 weeks before they flee into the night, never to return. And the dad ends up writing a book about it that becomes super popular, and some chapters from his book are interspaced with the now present day daughter of the family, who is now a house flipper and ends up acquiring the house that they, the house where it all happened.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting, super creepy, as haunted house books are. I would definitely recommend it if anybody's wanting to feel sufficiently creeped out this summer.
Yeah, kind of sounds sinister. Yeah. Anyway,
so
we have A Murderous Relation by Deanna Rayborn. That's the cover. This one, if you like kind of late 1800s theme, this is your choice.
And this is in a series too, right?
It is.
Yes.
Yes. Do you know the first? Anywho.
Yeah.
So Veronica and her colleague have a mission to stop the scandal between the prince and the mistress. And so with that love triangle, it's also in London, side note. And so the serial killer is Jack the Ripper. And that's another thing that's obviously causing a horrible problem between, going back and forth, trying to fix the triangle of the prince and the mistress. Never mind that there's a serial killer on the loose. It's a bunch of stuff happening.
Makes for a dramatic read.
Yes.
My next one also makes for a dramatic read, and it's kind of timely. It's The End of October by Lawrence Wright. It focuses on an outbreak of acute hemorrhagic fever that has devastating repercussions on the entire world. It follows a microbiologist, epidemiologist as he tracks the outbreak and attempts to, quarantine cities and find cures and find ways to keep people safe. If you really want to just really freak yourself out right now, definitely try this book. It is a little bit stressful to read right now. He did publish it last, I think it was November is when he was when it was coming out, and then in March it was just oops oops a daisies, now is not the time for this book, but it is really good, so you should try it. I would.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, worth a shot. You got free time.
You got free time. So the author that Kaylee was talking about, this is the other book, Untamed Shore. And this one I really like. It's really interesting how she uses the sharks as metaphors for what's going on in the actual reality of the main protagonist. So with the main protagonist, she gets involved with 3 rich gentlemen from America. And suddenly, unfortunately, one dies. So that becomes a big problem because she's also now involved with the other 2. So it's interesting, who killed Sue?
His name is Sue?
No, who kills who?
Oh, I thought you said who killed Sue.
No, who kills who? So anyway, sharks aren't the only predators in this book. Next.
Next. So the next book is Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. It takes place at a school deep in rural Pennsylvania where students spend 3 years never leaving, never having like any outside contact with their family or friends, no outside TV, movies, music, or books. No outside clothing. The school provides everything for them, pays for everything. And like when they leave, they end up being people like Supreme Court justices, like award-winning inventors and creators and artists, and sometimes even like presidents. But
very successful.
Super successful. But like, is the school really a school, or is it more like a prison? Like, what are they really doing there? It's kind of like a gothic literary thriller.
What's really happening?
Yeah. Why are they really there? Like, what happens if you don't succeed? What happens to the kids that don't end up being inventors and award-winning justices and things like that?
Maybe they get tossed down cellar.
Cool.
To the basement.
Cool. Great.
So next, Kay Hooper at Hidden Salem. If you like her, you'll like this one. So the main character is Nellie. She seeks out her family history because she has these odd supernatural things that are happening to her. Like, for example, all these crows start swarming her at once. Like, which is, not normal. Yeah. Anyway, so she gets a letter from her father to go to Salem and to stop an unknown evil that is occurring there. And people are starting to disappear, which that's a problem. And so with the Special Crimes Unit getting involved, evidence starts becoming very clear that something Titanic is there.
Fun.
Yes.
So, if you want to spice up your summer a little bit, Titanic Panic. Check out this book.
Oh, that's good.
My next book is Alone in the Wild by Kelly Armstrong. It is the latest in the Rockton series. So it follows a detective and her sheriff, and the sheriff partner. So they are basically the only law keepers in this town that's like in the middle of nowhere. Like, you literally have to take like a bush plane to get there, and then you like trek into the wilderness like 1,000 miles, and it's just the people that live there are either hiding from something or they're being protected from something. They have like no real outside contact. They end up finding a alive baby with a dead woman in the woods, like buried in the snow. So they save the baby, and they're trying to figure out like who killed the woman, where did this baby come from, who does this baby belong to, because there's only so many people in their town, and they know everybody and they know everything. So they're like, nobody here is pregnant. Where did this baby come from? So it's a whole mystery, finding out where baby came from, where baby come from, where baby go, who it belongs to, things like that.
Yeah, babies don't just appear.
No.
So, Karen Slaughter, she's one of my favorites. Anyway, The Last Widow. This one is actually really interesting. It's been a popular read. It's a mystery kidnapping of a scientist from the CDC. So that's kind of interesting if it happened. Anyway.
Maybe not right now.
Right, exactly. Probably no. Anyway, so the authorities become very desperate to find the scientist because, obviously he's from the CDC. He's kind of important. So a month later, a bombing happens in Atlanta where like two hospitals, a university, a like police station, all that spot just gets blown up, and so they are now more than desperate, trying to figure out what's going on, what's the connection between the scientist kidnapping and the bombing.
Dramatic.
Yes.
My next book is The Deep by Alma Katsu. It's sort of a psychological horror, supernatural thriller twist on the sinking of the Titanic. So, on the maiden voyage of the Titanic, it feels like there's something or someone that is haunting the ship. There's mysterious disappearances and sudden deaths. Mm-hmm. And then, we all know what happens before they can really figure out what's going on. The iceberg hits.
Oh, what happens? The iceberg. Oh, okay.
And then there's a maid who survived the sinking. She goes to work on the sister ship, the Britannica, when it becomes like a hospital at sea. Mm-hmm. And she ends up finding a patient who was also on the Titanic with her. And then, bad things start happening again. And they, is it something supernatural? Is it a person? Who knows?
This is an interesting story.
Yeah, it's sort of like a paranormal, psychological, historical fiction intertwined. So if you like history and you like thrillers, check this one out.
Yeah, that one's really good. Yeah. So anyway, Barista Mold Out by Philip Margolin. And this one is really interesting as well. On stage, a magician gets murdered and no one sees it. No one in the whole audience sees who kills him.
It would be the worst show ever.
Exactly. But who did it? How did it happen? How did the unthinkable happen? Because he was a really good magician, of course, and the Chamber of Death was the type of trick he was trying to do. But his audience, I guess, had a few people that didn't like him in there. So, unfortunately...
So, murder.
Yeah, murder. Murder might have happened, but no one saw anything. So, exactly. Huh. So.
Okay. My next one is Hideaway by Nora Roberts. Now, I know most people are like, oh, Nora Roberts. She's really good because it's not just romance, I promise. This one focuses on a young child star from a family of Hollywood, royalty. She is traumatized by kidnapping. She rescues herself though. She escapes and finds sanctuary with the family that lives nearby. She's reunited with her family, but then her whole life has to change because she was just kidnapped and she has to now deal with everything that comes with that. And it follows her and the other family that was her sanctuary. It follows her throughout her whole life and how everything changes. And there's somebody kind of that's going along with that. That's just somebody is stalking her and harassing her, and somebody is full of vengeance for something. They've held a lifelong grudge, and you don't know who it is or what they're going to do next. And it's good. I promise. It's not all just romance.
Yeah, stalking's illegal. So next one, Darling Rose Gold. This one actually ties in with the Gypsy Rose story. Yes, what's her last name?
Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Blanchard, yes. So this is actually kind of based on true events in a way, but it's a different take on it. If you know the story about Gypsy, if you don't, basically sums it up. The mother, she had a mental illness to the point where she was basically treating her daughter like she had cancer or any other illnesses, to the point where she would be in a wheelchair. She had a feeding tube, all of these things when she was actually healthy. Unfortunately, in real life, the mom gets murdered, but in this one, she only goes to prison and comes out 5 years later and begs her daughter, hey, please, can you give me a place to stay? Things start happening because she was ready for her to come home.
My next book is The Distant Dead by Heather Young. So a body is burning in the desert hills, and a young boy walks into a fire station completely traumatized. Turns out this young boy did find the body that was burning in the hills, and the body in the hills was a local teacher, Adam Merkel, and the whole town is completely shocked. The boy that found him was his closest and really only friend at the school, and so another local teacher decides to take it upon herself to kind of try to figure out what had happened to Adam, what happened to his past, what does the student really know. She not only finds out things like that, but she finds out things about her own past that maybe she didn't know. So it's a whole, buried secrets don't stay buried for very long.
Yeah, you gotta tell the truth.
Yeah.
Nothing but the truth.
Especially if you find a body burning in the hills.
Yeah, you gotta be honest. So, anyway, last but not least, we have Mallory, and this one, if you've read or seen Bird Box, this is the sequel to it. And it is 15 years later after she gets to the island and is at the school for the blind, and they're living there. It's quite interesting because she has to unfortunately go and venture back out because of experimentations that are happening. And so now these monsters are starting to morph into something even worse than not even seeing them. So that's pretty unpleasant. Also, she hears that, or gets some kind of word that someone she loves actually didn't die. Dun dun dun. So, that's, I'm like really interested in
So if you
finding
liked
out.
the book or the movie, check this one out.
Yes.
And that is all of our 20 thrilling books in 20 minutes. If you have any questions about any of the books, you want to put them on reserve, you can call us, you can email us, you can comment. We will happily put them on reserve for you. And if you have any other books that you want to know more about, just let us know. We'll let you know.
Yes.
Take care. Read
Yes.
something good.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Read a good
Read
book.
about a pandemic.
Yeah. Read about the pandemic in your house where you're safe.
Exactly.
Take care. Have
All
a
right.
good day.
Bye.
Bye.